This video is sponsored by Alcid eHomes, whose mission it is to accelerate the advent of sustainable, healthy living systems around the world. Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla News, episode 86. The Cadillac Lyriq sells out in just over 10 minutes. Tesla's virtual power plant is growing, and there are new construction going on at the Gigafactory 3 in China. And the UK and the Netherlands calls on the US and China to ban ICE cars by 2035. And Tesla is breaking ground on a new Megafactory. And Ford learns what karma really is. All this and much more to come on today's episode. Let's dive right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
Why oh why, the numbers don't lie, the Model Y is everywhere. Yes, the Model Y is popping up all over the place, and the Model Y is set to hit the roads of Australia soon and will be Tesla's fourth model in the local market. The electric compact SUV was recently approved for sales by the Department of Infrastructure, Transport, Regional Development and Communication in Australia. Nice. Going to be so exciting to see how well it does in Australia, where EVs unfortunately are still very expensive. But it is doing very well in Norway, of course, and the Model Y has become the best-selling EV in Q3 by far, and is now the fourth best-selling EV in the country year to date, even though with only 1 month of sales. And it was actually already the fifth best-selling EV in my country, Denmark, in August. And now we just heard from Glenn on Twitter that he saw a freight train in Denmark, probably 2 to 3 kilometers long in 2 layers, all Teslas, just like the video we see here from Ray for Tesla. And here is a little peek from Slovenia in Europe, the harbor of Kuba, flooded with Teslas. Oh yes, the end push of Q3 is going to be mad, but whatever they cannot get pushed out in Q3 will just be added on to an even more crazy Q4. And Tesla as a whole in Norway is just shooting for the moon. And if we look at this chart year to date, we can see these waves that Tesla's sales come in because of them being exported from China. But the growth we see in Q3 here is much bigger than any other waves before. And this is just months before the Gigafactory is opening. What will happen then? Will the waves just disappear and Tesla's sales will just be one steep curve through the whole quarter? But it's going to be very exciting to follow, because Norway is showing us what the future will look like. They are already over 70% EV market share, and as Torstein from Norway here showed on Twitter, that with the current trend line in Norway, the last ICE car will be sold in April 2022. Yep, next year, in only about half a year. Of course, it will not just go straight down in a straight line like this. The adoption will of course slow down with the last 10%, but the majority will all be buying EVs in Norway already in April next year. And then the last 10% will slowly adopt in the coming years. But it will probably happen a lot faster than people think, simply because of economical reasons, when EVs will be cheaper to buy and maintain. And remember, Norway have made the ban of new ICE sales in 2025 the most bullish of any country on earth. But even though some thought this was too aggressive, but we can see when the EV becomes the most obvious choice, this will happen so much faster. Norway could pretty much just ban the sales of new ICE cars by the end of next year if they wanted to, because no one will really buy one after 2022. But this is of course all new sales. There will of course still be a lot of ICE cars driving around in Norway, but it will be very exciting to follow this and see how fast the collapse of the ICE industry will happen, like dealership, gas station, and how fast people want to get rid of their old ICE cars, because they're going to be too expensive to maintain, and they will feel bad because they are now the minority that is still driving around in the city polluting the air. I think this fact alone will also play a big role for many people to switch to EVs a bit earlier, because it will become socially unacceptable to drive around in the city polluting the air. So many people will feel like they're doing something very bad driving around downtown, as some of the few blowing out toxic gases in the faces of friends and their children. So we have now witnessed the rise of the EV in Norway, and now we get to see the fall of the fossil fuel industry. A little peek of what we can expect for the rest of us. The fully electric Cadillac Lyriq sold out in just 19 minutes. All 1,500 of them. So Cadillac is the brand that GM wants to make all electric first, but not before 2030. But still, this is the brand they will make electric first. And the first BEV they will make, they have only made 1,500 available for pre-orders. And that car will first come out in 2023. What? Sorry, but GM is so screwed. The only EV on the road has all been recalled, costing GM so far close to $2 billion. And the second EV that will come out this year is the Hummer EV, but they will also only make about 10,000 of the first edition. And now we learn that the first pre-order of the Cadillac Lyriq are limited to 1,500. This is a joke. 1,500. Yeah, GM is not going to survive this switch, even though GM said their battery production of the Bolt will resume. But I mean, who cares? That car's reputation is dead, and that car is only getting traction in the US. Us Europeans don't really want to buy that car. In Norway, the EV capital of the world, the Bolt has year to date sold 2. Yeah, that car will never become anything outside the US. And that is the only EV that GM even has a plan for to make in a decent amount. So sure, it sounds great when GM is out saying we will make 30 new EV models by 2025. Sure, but if you're only going to produce 1,500 of them, it doesn't really matter. 1,500, that car is irrelevant. That is like 0.02% of GM's annual sales in 2020, or about 1% of Cadillac sales, and it will first come out in 2023. GM is moving so slow it's almost unbelievable, and they were the ones that were making the whole Super Bowl commercial that the US had to take on Norway as the leader in the EV revolution. And GM's answer is 10,000 Hummers and 1,500 Cadillacs. Wow, Tesla has sold more EVs than that in Norway this year alone. And GM sales has been falling in the last 5 years straight, and we are talking about millions of cars. The trend will clearly continue as ICE sales will fall off a cliff and EV will be shooting for the moon, and GM is still selling like 98% ICE cars and don't really show any signs of doing this switch faster. They are going to take their time, and that will make sure they once again will have to file for bankruptcy. With this pace, I can't see any way GM will survive this. No way. I just did a whole video about GM and the other legacy automakers' big problem with their dealership. If you haven't seen that one, you should definitely check it out. Link below. And Ford made a recall on their Mach-E because their roof might fall off. No, this can't be right. Ford was mocking Tesla for their one roof that fell off, and that was even custom made. But Ford is built tough. Well, not really. They have recalled approximately 1,812 Mach-E's because of concern of the panoramic glass roof could fall off. Oh, Ford. First, your Mach-E could not go down the mountains in Norway without breaking down, and now the roof is falling off. And you were mocking Tesla. I guess the Mach-E is the compromise. Yes, Ford. Karma's a bitch. And we have some more construction going on at the Gigafactory 3 in Shanghai. And Wuwa did another flyover over the Gigafactory 3 in Shanghai, and they are actually constructing something to the east of the factory. We did see rumors and videos about the south of the factory where Tesla were building out their Shanghai factory, but that area has kind of stopped construction, and now we see some construction to the east of the factory, which should also belong to Tesla. And it does look like they're not kidding around with the construction here to the east, so maybe this is where the new part of the factory where we will see the little compact Tesla being born. Can't wait to see or hear more about this compact car, because the demand for this car is just going to be unreal. And speaking of demand, just look at this parking lot at the factory. And this being the end of the quarter, all these cars are not going to be shipped anywhere. They are all just going to be delivered in China. And we only have a couple of days left, so they still have a lot of work to do to get all these cars out to customers. But also cool to see this list from Troy Tesla, with the comparison of the Model 3 RAM to the Model Y RAM, and it only took them 8 months to get over 20,000 Model Ys produced per month compared to 10 months with the Model 3. But even though we see the Model 3 being kept around the 22,000 in production, we know that the Model Y is still ramping up and should be producing something closer to 30,000 a month now. So we are really starting to see the benefits of the rear casting and show just how much time they save, and of course on everything else they have learned from the production of the Model 3. But this could be a good sign of what is to come when Tesla opens up Berlin and Texas in a couple of months. They could ramp up even faster and have an even higher production rate with 2 gigacastings. Tesla is just constantly innovating and improving, and doing so while they're building their factories from scratch. Just such a big advantage for Tesla. And Gigafactory 5 in Texas is now 81% complete, according to the YouTube channel My Tesla Weekend. That is tracking everything going on at the factory and have some great detailed map of the whole progress from December to now. As you can see here, I have speeded it up a bit, but let's just take a look inside because it's quite amazing. All that is already closed off and operational. Let's hear it from Brian himself from My Tesla Weekend.
Let's go back and look at the site map from 13 weeks ago. On June 21st, the Stamping Cathedral was closed off, and we now know it's operational. The Body in White area was mostly closed off, and we now know it is also operational. The Casting Cathedral, where the gigapresses have been churning out many hundreds of front and rear assemblies, also operational. The paint shop was closed off, and we've seen great pictures of that. And the final assembly area was more or less closed off as well.
And I can highly recommend you go check out Brian's video about this construction of the Gigafactory 5. I will leave a link to the video down below. And Tesla's virtual power plant is slowly but surely growing. And Tesla announced today that it is expanding its big virtual power plant in Australia to Victoria through its new Tesla Energy Plan. Over the last few years, Tesla has been deploying more Powerwalls to grow the virtual power plant, which provides grid service and reduces cost and backup power in the case of an outage. Last summer, Tesla had 1,000 Powerwalls on the network in South Australia, and they were authorized for a new phase to add another 3,000 batteries. Earlier this year, Tesla expanded the program by launching what it calls the Tesla Energy Plan and the Tesla Powerwall Plan, which is basically a time-of-use energy plan specifically made for the Powerwall's owners in South Australia. But this week, Tesla announced that it is expanding its Tesla Energy Plan and Tesla Virtual Power Plant to Victoria. So Tesla is going to have a virtual power plant in South Australia, Victoria and California. I really don't think people understand how big this is going to be in the future. This is going to be the new way of making energy, storing energy, reducing the cost of energy, and making it all renewable. Combine that with Tesla's big battery peak plant that are popping up all over the world and the Tesla charging network that will be ramping up, Tesla will just become a humongous player in the energy sector in the future. And Iceland is not only run on 100% renewable energy, oh yes, it can be done, but now they are also starting sucking CO2 out of the air. On the 8th of September, Climaworks launched Ocker, the world's first and therefore the largest climate-positive direct air capture and storage plant, making direct air capture and storage a reality. Ocker is the name of Climaworks' new plant in Iceland. It takes carbon dioxide removal to the next level by combining Climaworks' direct air capture technology with the underground storage of carbon dioxide provided by Carpfex. Ocker will capture 4,000 tons of CO2 per year. Evolving from a 50-ton capacity pilot installation in 2017 in Iceland, Ocker demonstrates that Climaworks is able to significantly scale CO2 removal capacity quickly. These developments will lead to several million tons of direct air capture and storage, and we do need these kind of plants to capture millions of tons of CO2, because even though it sounds like a lot, 4,000 tons of CO2 is only what about 200 people emit per year. But yet another great technology that will help us fight climate change, so I wish them the best of luck. And SpaceX Inspiration4 Mission has successfully been completed. They did launch on the 15th of September, cruised around the world for 3 days, showing us some great pictures of their experience. And this little video showing them opening the cupola for the first time. So cool to see how everyone just stops and just watch with amazement as this glass cupola reveals the view of our beautiful planet. And then they had a successful splashdown back to planet Earth. Everyone just looked so happy, and they held a big welcome back party for the Inspiration4 crew afterwards. And after SpaceX made this mission look so easy, the demand for customers that would like to go into space on a private tour is going up fast. You should be able to get a seat at the Dragon for about $50 million. So SpaceX is working on making their next-gen Dragon crew capsule with more space and view, and Elon even made a little funny tweet about the next time there will be something to heat their food and free Wi-Fi. What a historic moment we have been witness to. First step for civilian space travel. But it was not just all fun and games. They did also raise $210 million to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Also thanks to Elon that replied on Twitter, "Count me in for 50 million." How this guy has any haters is just beyond me, and people that actually knows him also has a very positive look of Elon Musk. Like Dolly here says, after working directly for Elon Musk for 5.5 years, working for Elon has been one of the most fulfilling experiences of my life, and one for which I am deeply grateful for. And I am reasonably qualified to answer this question about Elon Musk being the next Steve Jobs. Elon is without question one of the most brilliant, dynamic and charismatic people that I have ever met. It was an honor to build an effective working partnership with him and help build one of the world's most exciting companies. I have recently read articles comparing him to Steve Jobs, but Mr. Jobs has nothing on Elon. Elon is one Von Braun, Howard Hughes, Henry Ford, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs and every other badass all rolled into one. Yeah, people that have worked closely with this guy for years knows what it's all about. Haters don't have a clue. You bet against them if you like. But so far everyone who did ended up losing a lot of money. Meanwhile, Elon's company continues to inspire and help out humanity. And don't forget to see the last episode of the Netflix series about the Inspiration4 Mission that is coming out in only 4 days. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this news show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla Shorts. Tesla has officially broken ground on a new Megafactory in California. The new facility will be located near the other company's massive warehouse and distribution center. According to Sawyer, that actually called this one out a couple of weeks back, the Megafactory will be used to ramp up production of the new, larger version of the company's Megapack using the LFP battery cells from CATL. Nice. And speaking of Megapacks, Tesla's Megapack storage technology and the solar array will be used to help replace a 562 megawatt coal plant in New Mexico. Yes, please. And the UK and the Netherlands calls on US and China to ban gas cars by 2035 ahead of COP26 in November in order to meet the Paris Agreement's targets, instead of Biden's less aggressive plan of 50% EV sales in 2030. Hope they will listen. We also saw the solar roof powered Buffalo Heritage Carousel in New York. Nice. And Tesla insurance is coming, but it is a slow process. As Elon wrote, the regulatory process for approval to offer insurance is extremely slow and complex, varying considerably by state. Tesla is hoping to offer real-time, based on actual driving history, insurance in Texas next month, probably next year before we get approval in New York. A fun fact about SpaceX Starlink satellites constellation that currently has 1,657 active satellites. That is 48.7% of all current operational satellites around the globe. Nuts. And at Gigafactory 4 in Berlin, they are finally putting up walls at the gigacasting area, closing off the whole factory. A good sign that they are nearing the end of construction. And we also see them starting building walls at the battery factory at Berlin as well. Nice. And we saw some great videos of a lot of Tesla Model S Plaids being delivered in Vancouver. And Volkswagen has announced that it has launched the over-the-air update for each of the models in the ID family vehicle. Yes, Volkswagen, finally. Let's hope the ID owners will get some great over-the-air updates, which will fix the many software bugs and issues and bring some great new features, making the car more smart, so they will do better in China as well. And Toyota might be waking up and realizing they are so far behind when it comes to BEVs that they will never catch up in time. So now they're trying to fight the EV revolution, lobbying for not banning ICE cars so soon, and is a big fan of hybrids. No surprise there. And if you don't know how I feel about hybrids, you can watch my latest video, link below. But the CEO of Toyota said all EV could cost Japan millions of jobs. But don't worry, if you don't want to go electric, maybe Tesla should just open a Gigafactory in Japan to make some jobs for all those people losing their job at Toyota. Another Japanese car company that has some pathetic plans is Honda. They just announced that it is planning for a capacity of 70,000 electric SUVs in 2024. 70,000. And they are still sticking with their target of 100% BEVs by 2040. Yeah, nice knowing you, Honda. And I guess after Porsche saw Tesla's Plaid with a single-speed motor transmission destroying their two-speed transmission Taycan on the racetrack, Porsche suddenly thinks single-speed transmission is the future. And speaking of Plaid, the Plaid Model S had a little fun with the McLaren on the drag strip. As expected, no contest. Elon did reply to Ray for Tesla about the next Gigafactory might be in Russia, but Elon wrote Tesla has not yet decided on a fourth Gigafactory location. But just confirming that they are looking for the next place, and I still think as soon as Berlin and Texas are up and running, Tesla will announce the next factory, or maybe a couple. And before we end off with a bit of fun, I just want to make a quick shout out to my newest patrons and members of this YouTube channel. Mark Stevens, Anita Dalton, Anthony Luzgo, Ed Najarin, RCDIY. And I thank you for watching, members. Sub-Zero Texas, Roger Bone, Dan Canyu, Max Boutel, Mark Rhodes, Omri Hovers. And I have got to my goal of 300 patrons this year, so I will celebrate that with planting 100 trees. Getting closer to my goal of planting 1,000 trees. What is needed to make me become a CO2 neutral person? The average person emits about 20 tons of CO2 per year, and one grown tree absorbs about 20 kilos of CO2 per year, so 1,000 trees would absorb a whole year worth of CO2 from one person. So that's what I'm aiming for. I have so far planted one tree for every patron of $5 or more, and I planted 100 trees when I hit the first 100 patrons, and another 100 trees when I got my first 2,000 likes on my video. So right now I have planted 423 trees. Help me get to 500 patrons and I will plant another 100 trees, or 500 members of my YouTube channel, I will also plant 100 trees. Thank you all so very much for your generous support. I am doing this all by myself, but you guys are all the producers of this news show. Thank you. And let's end off with a bit of fun. And our little friend Gordon Johnson made a poll on Twitter this week of what EV you would buy if you only had one choice. Gordon did delete the tweet again, wonder why, but luckily many made screenshots of the result, and oh yeah, I don't think Gordon liked the result of his little poll. 88% wanted a Tesla. I'm glad he does research, but I don't think he will be talking about the result of this one in any interview on CNBC anytime soon. But it would be fun if the CNBC asked him about it, but that would probably never happen as well. But that was a fun little poll from a short shiller, and if you think deleting that tweet will make sure nobody will see it, he is mistaken. Even Dylan Loomis from Electrified is even going to put this picture of the poll on a coffee cup and sell it at his merch store. So if you want to, go over to Electrified merch store and get a mug with Gordon Johnson's best research so far. That is all we have time for in this news show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps this video out a lot. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for your support, and if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel and get your shout out on this show. You can also become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out and some extra perks. Hit the members button to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I tweet all the news as it comes out and more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. Now it's also possible to support the show without buying anything, becoming a member or a patron. There is a link to donation options in the show notes. But going forward, I will be making more videos for patrons and members only, so don't miss out. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.